I just got done building the Chipotle district of Snack City in my freezer. Now, I have a Burrito Bowl Buffet in there and it rules. You want to know how many times I open my fridge and look around and just hope a meal is going to appear in front of my eyes? I'll get home from playing squash or paddle and be ravenously hungry, then open the doors of my fridge and see that it's filled with nothing but ingredients. What kind of a sick joke is that? And I refuse to stop at Chipotle on the way home because every time I do, they make me so blood red mad with those scoop sizes. So I took matters into my own hands and I built my own Burrito Bowl station in Snack City. I've got cilantro lime rice, black beans, fajita vegetables, and chicken. Now a burrito bowl like this one is only a few microwave minutes away. It's cheap and easy to make, you just gotta take the time investment to put it in the freezer. It's a lot of food and requires some space in your freezer, so I would recommend breaking this prep down into 2 days. On day 1 I did the black beans and rice, and on day 2 I did the chicken and vegetables. Now let me show you how you can make this for yourself. To make the black beans, you'll want to start the night before because these need to soak. If you wanted to skip this step and making the black beans altogether, you could just use canned black beans. It will cost a tiny bit extra and you'll miss out on some flavor, but it is nice just to have it ready to go. I'll be using 1 pound or 454 grams of dried black beans. I pour these out onto a sheet pan to make it easy to sort them to make sure there's no rocks or pebbles or anything else I don't want to eat. And then once I've convinced myself that I'm all bean and no rock, I'll dump them into a bowl of water and leave these overnight to soak. When the next day rolls around, I'll continue on with the prep. To make the most efficient use of time, I'm going to get the rice started first before I go back to the beans. My rice cooker can handle about 10 cups of cooked rice, so I'm going to add in about 3.5 cups or 640 grams of dry rice. I rinsed the rice until the water ran clear and then filled it up to the floor line of my rice cooker. On goes the lid, I put it into the cooker and I let it do its thing. If you make your rice on the stovetop, just do whatever you need to do to make the 3.5 cups of rice. Next, I'm going to do some chopping to get it out of the way. Starting with some cilantro for the rice, you'll need roughly 1/3 of a cup or about 30 grams of chopped cilantro. That's likely going to be somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 of a regular sized bunch of cilantro. Just pass a knife through it a bunch of times to roughly chop it up into small pieces. Next, in preparation for the beans, we're going to chop up about 4 cloves or 15 grams worth of garlic. There's nothing fancy required here, just mince it up into small pieces. Next comes 1/2 of a medium-sized onion or about 100 grams worth. This is going to get cut into a small dice. Save the other half of this onion as we will use it for the chicken marinade in a bit. To cook the beans, you're going to place a large pot on the stove over medium heat and add in 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of oil. Add in your chopped onions and minced garlic and allow these to cook for about 1 or 2 minutes. Stir these around in the oil and let them become fragrant. Then once you reach this point, you can add in 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of cumin, 1 teaspoon or 1 gram of dried oregano, and a little bit of salt and pepper to your liking. Stir this around in the oil for about 30 seconds to a minute to help toast that cumin, and then you can add in your black beans, followed by 6 cups or 1,440 grams of water. Next, you can drop in 2 bay leaves and then crank up the heat because we're going to bring this pot to a strong boil. Once it has reached this boil, you can maintain it for about 2 minutes and then cover it with a slightly ajar lid and reduce the heat to medium-low. This is going to simmer for 1 hour. 1 hour later, you can come back and check on your beans, give one a taste test and see if it's soft on the inside. We're looking for a creamy texture, and if it's still chalky or hard, we're going to keep cooking for a little bit longer. To help thicken up this broth to be more friendly for our burrito bowls, you can take out a couple scoops of beans and smash them up to release their starches. The easiest way to do this is to take the back of a fork and press it into the beans to create a mash. You can then stir this back into the pot with the regular beans and allow this to simmer for another 30 minutes uncovered to help thicken that broth. Now, while we are waiting for those beans to finish, let's go back to making the rice. Take your pot of cooked rice and add in 2 tablespoons or 28 grams of butter, about 1/3 of a cup or 30 grams of chopped cilantro, a little more than 3 tablespoons or about 50 grams of lime juice, and then salt to your liking. Mix everything around to break up the rice, melt the butter, and incorporate those flavors throughout. Give it a taste test to see where it's at, and if you need to adjust any of the flavors, feel free to do so. Now, to get this ready for long-term storage in the freezer, we need to flash freeze it first, which means we're going to freeze it uncovered on a sheet pan in a single layer. And when I say single layer for rice, I just mean a thin layer on a sheet pan. Obviously, we can't lay out each individual grain of rice in one singular layer. While that would be nice, it's not very practical. So instead, we'll dump out all of our rice onto a sheet pan and spread it into each of the corners. I don't want this to be compressed, so I tried to fluff it up a bit with my rice paddle before I moved it into the freezer to flash freeze. Make sure this is cooled down to room temperature before you toss it in the freezer. Now back to my black beans. These have been reducing on the stove for about 30 minutes to help thicken up that broth. Same thing we did with our rice, we're going to spread this out onto a sheet pan. First, I'm going to line it with parchment paper just to make it easier to pull out once it's frozen solid, and then I dumped my beans into the center. As you can see, these are still steaming hot, so I'm going to allow these to sit and cool for a bit before I toss them into the freezer. When both my trays were ready to go, I made some space in one of the drawers of my freezer, and I placed them inside. I used these metal ramekins to act as stilts so that I could stack these trays on top of each other and save on a little bit of space. This is why I say it's best to split this prep up into 2 days, because it's going to be hard to fit 4 sheet pans like this into your freezer. But once they're frozen solid, you can pack them away in containers and you've got your space back. When the next day rolls around, I'll continue on with the cooking process, this time for the chicken. I'll make a marinade by mixing my ingredients in a blender, starting with 2.5 tablespoons or 37.5 grams of oil, 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of lime juice, 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of soy sauce, and about 1/3 of a cup or 90 grams of chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. For these peppers, if you want your chicken to be spicier, grab more peppers than sauce, and vice versa if you want it a bit milder. Next, add 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of paprika, about 1 tablespoon or 2 grams of dried oregano, and about 3 teaspoons or 18 grams of salt. And lastly, we're going to take the other half of the onion that we used to cook the beans with, or about 100 grams worth, and toss that into the blender as well. Then you can place on the cap and put it over the motor and spin it until it's smooth. Into a large bowl, you're going to place 5 pounds or about 2.25 kilograms of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Then pour your marinade over the top and mix it around with your hands so that every piece of chicken is completely coated with this marinade. I would recommend putting this bowl in the fridge and allowing the chicken to marinate for at least a couple of hours, but if you're in a hurry and you don't want to wait to do that, just throw it right on a pan and cook it. Who cares? I did let mine marinate for half a day though, and then when it's time to cook, I got out a large sheet pan, I sprayed it with oil just to prevent any stickage, and I spread out the chicken thighs with a smooth side facing down across the surface. It's important that you give this chicken space to allow for proper cooking, so I ended up using 2 sheet pans just to ensure I wasn't overcrowding. This will go into a 425 degree Fahrenheit or 218 degrees Celsius oven for about 22 minutes. If you have a barbecue grill you can use, even better. While that chicken is in the oven, you can move on to working on your peppers and onions. You're going to take 1 large red bell pepper, or about 250 grams worth, and cut this into thin strips. Next, I took 4 medium-sized poblano peppers, or roughly 500 grams worth, and cut these into thin strips to match the size of my red peppers. If you can't find poblano peppers where you live, a green pepper will work fine. I just prefer the taste of poblano peppers over the taste of green bell peppers. And lastly, you'll need 1 large yellow onion, or about 250 grams worth, and this will get cut into thin strips as well. Now to cook these, I'm going to do it in batches since we have such a large amount. I placed a large skillet over high heat and added in about 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of oil. These should cook pretty fast. The goal here is to slightly soften them up and hopefully achieve a bit of browning on the exterior. I toss them around in the oil when they first hit the pan, sprinkle over a bit of salt, and then I let the heat do its work for the first minute or so. Once I see some coloring and blistering on the exterior of the peppers, I'll add in about 1 tablespoon of water to help them steam and cook a bit faster. And then once that water is evaporated, they're probably ready to go. Transfer this first batch to a plate where it can cool, and you can continue cooking the remainder of your peppers and onions. To cook the full amount of peppers and onions I prepared, I used 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of oil total. So for the second batch, I added another half tablespoon or roughly 7.5 grams of oil to the pan, and then my red peppers and remaining poblanos to finish cooking. I repeated that same method where I tossed in the oil, allowed them to sit over the heat, salted, and then poured in a bit of water to steam. Once that second batch was finished, they joined the first batch on the plate to cool, and I moved on with cooking the onions. You need to remember these are getting put into the freezer and then reheated in the microwave, which is a second cooking process. You still want these to have a bit of snap to their texture when you pull them from the pan, otherwise they're going to be too mushy when you reheat them in the microwave. Freezing them is also going to break down the cell walls and soften them up even further, so don't cook them too much and make them mushy on this first go. Once the onions are done, you can add the peppers back into the pan and mix everything together and then set this aside to cool. Around this time, my chicken had finished up in the oven for the first 22 minutes, so I pulled each of the trays from the oven and started to cut them up into a large dice. The chicken should be cooked at this point, but if you want to take it a step further, you can add it back to that sheet pan, mix it around in the remaining juices, and then toss it back in the oven on broil to achieve some more browning. One other thing you'll want to do at this step is give a piece of taste test and adjust with salt as needed. This is 5 pounds of chicken, so it's probably going to need quite a bit of salt, and you want to make sure you get this part right. I'll toss this pan back into the oven for an additional 3 to 4 minutes on broil, or until I'm happy with the level of browning that I see. I let this pan sit on the counter and cool until it was close to room temperature, and then I transferred it over to a smaller sheet pan to fit in the freezer so that it can flash freeze. Spread it out the best you can across the surface of that sheet pan so that we get it into a singular layer. Your beans and rice that we cooked yesterday should be frozen solid by this point, so you can just stack your chicken on top. Or if you need to create some space, pack those away in their containers first and then add your chicken to the freezer. The exact same process will go for your peppers and onions. Add them to a sheet pan in a singular layer and flash freeze them in the freezer until they are solid. Keep in mind that you can create stilts to help you build upward and save space in your freezer if you need it. I use those metal ramekins to create a surface that I can lift the sheet pans on top of each other. If you really needed to, you could just take a piece of parchment paper and place it on top of the bottom sheet pan and then sandwich the other one over the top. And now with all my ingredients prepped and frozen, we can get to packing these away. If you care about the nutritional estimates of your meals as well, you'll want to grab some weights of each of these ingredients. You can just use the estimates I provide and it will be close, but if you want it to be exact, you'll need to grab your own. I'm going to put the chicken into one of my glass vacuum sealable containers since it's a bit more prone to freezer burn than some of the other ingredients. As I put it in the container, I break it up into individual pieces, and I was left with about 1,250 grams of this cooked chicken. For the entire batch of chicken, that puts us at a total of 3,091 calories with about 442 grams of protein. If I were to divide that into 10 equal servings of about 125 grams for me, that puts me at 309 calories with 44.2 grams of protein per serving. Moving on to my peppers and onions mixture, these got a little stuck together in the freezer, so I'm going to use a fork to break them up to the best of my ability, and I'm going to store these in another one of my glass vacuum sealable containers because they are also a little bit prone to freezer burn. My total yield for the peppers was about 727 grams, and for that entire amount, we've got about 586 calories. Now if I divide that into 10 equal servings, that's about 72 grams per serving, or 58.6 calories each serving. Next up comes the rice and beans. Each of these is a bit more hearty than the chicken and peppers are, so they don't require as much attention for the freezer. I'm just going to use a standard meal prep container to store these in the freezer, and they should be just fine. The hardest part about storing the rice is just breaking it up into smaller chunks to fit in your containers. It would be nice if we could freeze this into individual grains of rice, but I just don't think there's a good way to do that. My total yield for this rice was 1,455 grams, and for the entire batch, that's about 2,492 calories. Divide that into 10 equal servings, and each serving has about 249 calories with 4.7 grams of protein. Lastly, we've got our black beans. These will be the easiest to store in the freezer because they are frozen in a liquid, which means they're kind of protected in on themselves. I take my frozen slab and give it a quick hi-ya to karate chop it in half, and then use a knife to break it up into even smaller pieces. The yield for my black beans was about 1,405 grams, which makes the total nutrition come out to around 1,803 calories and 101 grams of protein for the entire batch. Divide that into 10 equal servings, and each serving will have about 180 calories with 10 grams of protein. And now with all of your ingredients packed away and stored in their containers, they're ready to build the Chipotle district of Snack City in your freezer. With airtight containers, and if you keep your freezer cold, these should last for months. When you're ready for a meal, you just pull out the containers, add the ingredients to a bowl, and toss them in the microwave to reheat. I've actually found it's nice to reheat the rice and the black beans first before adding in the chicken and the peppers because they don't take as long to thaw out. The beautiful thing about this buffet style freezer prep is that you can add as much or as little of the ingredients as you want to the bowl to meet your hunger needs for that day. Some days I'll get home from playing squash for a couple of hours and I'll just want to eat a ton of carbs. So on those days, I can load up my bowls with extra rice and beans to meet my cravings. When I reheat these in the microwave, I'll go in 1-minute increments and then pull it out and stir everything around to make sure it's evenly heated. Once it's hot and ready to eat, you can add cheese, salsa, hot sauce, sour cream, guacamole, whatever your heart desires for a topping. If you were to evenly divide the ingredients into 10 equal-sized meals, each meal would have about 797 calories and 60 grams of protein. Because of the freedom you have with buffet-style meal prepping, you can play around with the amounts until you reach the values that you're looking for. Just make sure when you pack away all your ingredients, you get a weight for each component. That way you can divide the total nutrition of the recipe by that value and get a per gram value for the nutritional estimates. When you're batch prepping a large amount of food in a home kitchen like you do with this one, space is usually going to be your number one rate limiter. Whether that's stovetop space, oven space, or in the case of this recipe, space in your freezer to allow these ingredients to flash freeze. Like I mentioned earlier, it's easily solved by just splitting the prep up into 2 days. What's nice about this buffet style prep is that no one of the components is especially hard or time consuming to make. The rice and beans kind of cook themselves and don't require too much babysitting, the chicken goes in the oven, and the fajita vegetables are the only one that requires active time on the stove. The recipes for each component on this buffet style prep is linked on my website, or if you're a member, you can find it in the TMPM HQ app. If you're just like me and you want to make your meals easier when you get home from the gym, give this one a shot so you always have something in your freezer. Okay, I'm going to go make some muffins now. Bye.